fun stuff.
Now, where was the first time you got up on stage? Where the fuck was it? Who do you claim? Who claims you?
Well, it was called the Funny Bone Comedy Club in Arlington, Texas, and this guy that I worked was a window salesman, and this guy that I worked with went to the first open mic night that they had there after the club first opened, and he came to the office the next day, and he goes, "Ron, you're funnier than these guys. You should go do this." And I was like, "Really? You think so?" And he said, "Yeah, I know so. I watched everybody. You're better than they are. Go do this." So I went down there. I had to audition for one person, which is so humiliating. There's one person there with their arms crossed, and I've got 4 minutes of shit, pure fucking unadulterated crap. And one thing got a laugh, and they decided to let me on. And then I remember the guy, I forget his name, but he's a black comic, and his name was Ron something, and I remember he goes, "Please enjoy the comedy stylings of Ron White." And I'm walking towards the stage, and I'm like, "Stylings? Stylings?" And I'm just nervous as fuck, and I didn't expect him to say stylings, and I didn't. But I did okay for my 4 minute set, but the next week, and nobody was there. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it, but it went so well. I thought I got a little cocky, first show cockies, and so the next week that they let me on, it was like 3 weeks later. That's how good the set was, and so then I tell all my friends and everybody, come on out, this is amazing. And I just went on stage and drank a cup of my own warm fucking sperm. This fucking great comics was on right before me. I froze up, and it was awful, just the worst thing. I don't think anything ever happened worse after that. That set was so absolutely horrible that I was like, and all my friends were there. They're like, and your friends are trying to laugh, but it's really not funny. So they're making that sound. That was what my sister-in-law was making. But it's not a laugh, because you can't. If it's not funny, you can't make yourself fucking laugh at it. You just go
Now, what year was this?
86.
Oh my! And what was going on in the comedy community then? They were all over the place, comedy clubs, or no?
No, no. They were. That was pretty much the
86.
middle of the boom, I guess. There was there were 4 clubs in Dallas. So I figured out I'm smart on a couple levels, but one of them is I saw that was an MC job, not an opening act job. So if you were really dedicate yourself to becoming a really good master of ceremonies, even though you suck, if you memorize the announcements and you know who's coming next week and you make it look like a show, then you'll probably get more work than these guys that are just back there looking at their stupid little horrible jokes, and then they're like pulling out pieces of paper, and then so I'm like, well, fuck show business, why not make it slicker? Maybe that helps to get stage time, because that's what you need is stage time. How do you get on stage? How do you stay on stage? Where do you have to go to get on stage? Because if you're not willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to stay on stage, then it won't work anyway. But it for sure won't work if you don't have that kind of attitude or mentality of I would invent things to put me on stage when I was an amateur comic. I would go to these restaurants or hotels with a restaurant, and I would set up a comedy competition, and first place would be dinner for 2, and I would only invite comics that I was funnier than. If you were funnier than me, you weren't going to hear about this competition, because I wanted the fucking food. That meant something. That was like $16 worth of stuff, and and a meal was fucking that important. It meant something, and so I just kind of learned how to set up gigs that way. So now we're gonna talk them into. I'm gonna start talking them into $300 for first place and $200 or whatever, and then eventually I got good enough. Anybody could come. I could.